Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I will discuss about the male reproductive system in first part. The male reproductive system in men has the components which is located in the abdomen, pelvis and perineum. So these are the different male reproductive organs. It includes the testicle, epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle, prostate, ejaculatory ducts, penis. So these are the different male reproductive organs. So here also we have demarcated these male reproductive organs. The three types of accessory glands are also found. These are prostate, seminal vesicle and bulbourethral glands. These are also demarcated in this diagram. The bulbourethral gland, this small gland, then prostate gland and the seminal vesicle. These are the different glands for the production of seminal fluid. It is also demarcated in this diagram. The prostate gland, the bulbourethral gland and the seminal vesicle. See the location of the seminal vesicle on the posterior aspect of the urinary bladder. Now first the scrotum. It is an outpouching of the lower part of the anterior abdominal wall. It contains testis, epididymis and the lower end of the spermatic cord. It is divided on the surface into two compartments by a raphe, which is continued forward to the undersurface of the penis and backward along the midline of the perineum to the anus. Each compartment contains one of the two testes and one of the epididymis. Now the wall of the scrotum, it includes following layers. Outermost is the skin, then inside that dartos, muscle and fascia. Then internal to it we have external spermatic fascia, then cremastic fascia, then internal spermatic fascia, then tunica vaginalis and the innermost is tunica albuginea. So these are the wall of the scrotum. Now the skin of the scrotum is thin, wrinkled and pigmented and forms a single pouch. A slightly raised ridge in the midline indicates the line of fusion of the two lateral labioscrotal swellings, since scrotum is developed from two labioscrotal swellings which fuses in the midline during development. Then inside the skin we have superficial fascia. This is continuous with the fatty and membranous layer of the anterior abdominal wall, and the fat is replaced by a smooth muscle known as dartos muscle. It is innervated by the sympathetic nerve fibers and is responsible for wrinkling of the skin. Then we have spermatic fascia. It has three layers which lie beneath the superficial fascia and are derived from the three layers of the anterior abdominal wall on each side. The external spermatic fascia derives from the external oblique muscle. Cremastic fascia derives from internal oblique muscle. And finally the internal spermatic fascia derived from fascia transversalis. Then we have tunica vaginalis. This is the serous membrane which lies within the spermatic fascia and covers the anterior, medial and lateral surfaces of each testis. Then innermost is the tunica albuginea, which is the tough fibrous layer of the connective tissue that surrounds the testis. Now the blood supply. The scrotum is supplied by the superficial and deep external pudendal arteries, which are the branches of femoral arteries. The superficial perineal branch of the internal pudendal artery and the cremastic branch of the inferior epigastric artery also supplies to the scrotum. So this is the scrotum. After removal of scrotum we will find the testis. Now the nerve supply of the scrotum, it includes the branches from ilioinguinal nerve, genital branch of genitofemoral nerve. Then in the lower part it is supplied by the posterior scrotal branches of the perineal nerve and the perineal branch of posterior cutaneous nerve of the thigh. Lymphatic drainage of scrotum drains into superficial inguinal group of lymph nodes. And these lymph nodes are demarcated in the image. These are the superficial inguinal lymph nodes in the femoral triangle. Then we have the next male reproductive organ, that is the testis. It is a male gonad homologous with the ovary. Function is production of spermatozoa, secretion of testosterone. Shape is oval or ellipsoid. Measurements include length is 4 cm, breadth is 3 cm, and thickness is 2.5 cm. Now the external features of the testis include it has two poles, the upper and the lower pole, two surfaces, medial and lateral surface, and two borders, anterior and the posterior border. Now the coverings of the testes include tunica vaginalis, which is the persistent lower portion of the processus vaginalis. Tunica albuginea, it is a thick, dense layer of the fibrous tissue. And then innermost is the tunica vasculosa, which is the vascular layer. So here we can see the different layers, the tunica vaginalis, tunica albuginea. These are the different layers of the testis. Then testis in the inner surface of the capsule is a series of fibrous septa that divide the interior of the organ into lobules. Lying within each lobule are 1, 2, 3 coiled seminiferous tubules. So in each lobule we have 1, 2, 2, 3 seminiferous tubules. These tubules open into a network of channel known as rete testis. Small efferent ductules connect the rete testis to the upper end of the epididymis. So in the diagram we can see there are different lobules, and each lobule contain 2 to 3 seminiferous tubules. The seminiferous tubules, they are continuous in the form of rete testis. It is a network, and then the efferent ductules of this rete testis continues in the epididymis. Then the blood supply is via testicular artery. Venous drainage is from the pampereiform plexus of the vein. Then the lymphatic drainage of the testis drains into the para-aortic group of lymph nodes at the lumbar level, that is L1, L2 levels. Then testis, it is innervated by sympathetic innervation is sensory, and it is innervated by from the T10 to T11 spinal nerves, and it is also motor to it. Then we come to a descent of testis. Testis develops in the abdominal cavity. Then with the help of processus vaginalis, it descends into the scrotum. The sequence of the descent includes it lies in the loin and comes to the iliac fossa at the age of 3rd month of the intrauterine life. Then it comes to lie in the deep inguinal ring at the age of 4 to 7th of intrauterine life. Then it lies in the inguinal canal at the age of 7th month of the intrauterine life. Then it lies in the superficial inguinal ring, or we can say external inguinal ring, at the age of 8th month of the intrauterine life. And at the 9th month, that is just at the time of delivery or just at the birth, it lies in the scrotum. So these are the different stages of the ovaries from abdomen to the scrotum. Now the external descent of testis can be defined as descent of testis from deep inguinal ring through the inguinal canal to the scrotum, and the time taken is from 7th month and takes 2 to 3 days. Causes which control the descent includes it is controlled by the androgens, the male hormones. It is guided by the gubernaculum, facilitated by the processus vaginalis, and it is helped by the intra-abdominal pressure, which is result from the growth of the abdominal viscera. So here we can see all the structures which are helping in the descent of testis. That is, this is the gubernaculum, the fibrous structure, and the processus vaginalis in front of it. Over here it lies. Now the factors responsible for descent: differential growth of the body wall, increased intra-abdominal pressure and temperature, hormones like male hormones produced by the testes, and contraction of gubernaculum. Now the embryological remnants at the appendix of testis. Here we can see the appendix of testis. This is the remnant of Mullerian duct. Mullerian duct in females forms the uterus. In case of males, it is degenerated and forms the appendix of testis. Next is the appendix of epididymis. So here we have the appendix of epididymis. It is the remnant of mesonephric duct. This mesonephric duct forms the kidneys. Now come to the applied. First is the hydrocele. A hydrocele is a collection of peritoneal fluid between the parietal and the visceral layers of the tunica vaginalis, the investing layer that directly surrounds the testis and the spermatic cord. So here we can see the collection of water or watery substance between the two layers of the tunica vaginalis. This is the hydrocele again. Then the varicocele, that is varicosity, abnormal tortuosity in the pampiniform plexus of veins which are draining the testis. This is known as varicosity. The main reason for this is that the valves do not function properly, which results into backflow of the blood and which causes pooling of the blood into the vein, and this results in enlargement and tortuosity of the veins. So here we can see the varicose veins, that is the pampiniform plexus of veins which are draining the testis. Then this is the testicular cancer, the cancerous growth in the testis. Then the imperfect descent of the testis. First is the cryptorchidism. It is the absence of testis in one scrotum. Other is ectopia testis, deviation from the normal path of the descent result into ectopia testis. Then these are the diagrammatic representation of the cryptorchidism. Then monorchidism. It is the state of having only one testicle. Only one testis is present in the males. Then torsion of testis, that is twisted testicles. It is a medical condition in which there is abnormal rotation of the testicles, twisting the spermatic cord, with which it reduces the blood flow to the scrotal area, resulting in severe pain and swelling to the area. Next is the epididymis. Now the structures of the epididymis includes the head, body and the tail. These are demarcated in the diagram. It has two distinct components: the efferent ductule, which forms an enlarged coil mass that sits on the posterior superior pole of the testis and forms the head of the epididymis. The true epididymis, which is single long coiled duct into which the efferent ductules all drain and which continues inferiorly along the posterior lateral margin of the testis as the body of epididymis and enlarges to form the tail of epididymis at the inferior pole of the testis. So here we can see the formation of epididymis in the form of its head, that is the efferent ductules of the retrotestis forms the head, body, and then they continues in the form of tail of the epididymis. Now the arterial supply of the epididymis is from the testicular artery, which is the branch of abdominal aorta at the level of L2 vertebrae. Then venous drainage. The veins emerges from the testis, forms the pampiniform plexus. Then lymphatic drainage. The lymph from here drains into pre and the para-aortic group of lymph nodes, and nerve supply is also similar to the testis, that is sympathetic nerves arising from the T10 spinal nerves, afferent for testicular sensations and efferent to the blood vessels. Then we come to the ductus deferens, also known as vas deferens. It means the carrying away vessel. The ductus deferens is a long muscular duct that transports the spermatozoa from the tail of the epididymis to the ejaculatory duct. So here we can see this is the tail of the epididymis. From here it begins and it ends up to the ejaculatory duct, which is found at the posterior aspect of the prostate gland. The vas deferens arises from tail again. Here we can see the origin and the termination of the vas deferens. It continues infero-medially along the base of the bladder and anterior to the rectum, almost to the midline, where it joins the duct of the seminal vesicle to form the ejaculatory duct. So here we can see this is the seminal vesicle and it is the duct of the seminal vesicle which is joined by the vas deferens, and both these ducts combines and forms the ejaculatory duct. So here we can see the fusion of the vas deferens and the duct of the seminal vesicle, and both these forms the ejaculatory duct, which penetrates through the prostate gland to connect with the prostatic urethra. So this completes our first part of the male reproductive system.